I know
What's up,
it does
everybody?
say thoughts on Transhood, which is a documentary that we will get into. But I
Hmm.
want to introduce myself, and I'll allow Drake to introduce himself. Miss
What's up,
Shan.
sales?
I have a podcast called She Gets It Pod. I also have a podcast called Cozy Womb Podcast. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because I am a mom of two, and this topic is based upon children in the trans world, and that's why I wanted to say that. With that being said, these are not my personal thoughts on what is right that everybody should do because I say so. These are my personal thoughts on what I would do as a parent for my kids. If you hear them, I am allowing people to have their own opinion, which they should have. I
Hmm.
respect other people's opinions. I would like anybody commenting throughout this show to respect other people's opinions. If
Yes.
you find yourself very religious and you just can't handle the topic, that's okay. But please refrain from calling names, using certain language that should not be used. That's not respectable because I will be using this recording on Cozy Womb Podcast, not She Gets It. And the reason why there's a difference is because Cozy Womb Podcast is primarily for people who are parenting, soon to be parents, and people that will possibly listen to it around their kids. So just be respectable about your comments and whatever you want to say. Please chime in, please share. And I'll allow Drake to introduce himself and where he's from and his podcast so you guys could get to know why I chose Drake to do this show with.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Drake or Mr. B713. I'm with, well, I don't say Black Horror Humor. That's one of the podcasts that I do, but my true home is with Everything Culture. Everything Culture is a podcast where we interview different individuals and we try to get to know a little bit about them, their upbringing, their childhood, their background, traditions, their social norms, beliefs, and then we have different discussions talking about those things. Try to get an understanding why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Our motto or our mantra or mission statement comes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And in those words are that he believed men hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they don't know each other, and they don't know each other because of segregation and miscommunication. So we built this platform where people can have a space where we can communicate with one another, and that's built off communication, respect, and consistency, and we try to keep it together. We talk about it's everything culture, and I know a lot of people when they hear culture, they automatically go to race and ethnicity, but understanding culture has everything to do with age, your location, your the type of food you like to eat, the type of movies you like to watch. All these things really reflect, and it kind of goes into everything is culture.
Yes,
And we say
every
thing because I'm country. I'm from Texas, and I'm a little country.
so when you put it to Everythang,
A A
and
A
for
N
that.
G.
Um. Okay. So you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Stay
Okay.
ready.
So I
Oh,
am
oh,
not a.
oh, oh, I'm not ready. Let me say this before. Just and on our show, one thing we always try to do, and I'm thank you so much, Shan, for allowing me to come on and chop it up with you. But I'm usually would say I would love to have someone from that is transsexual or grew up in a home that allowed that because that's what we do. I don't have I'm not that, so it's important to get that perspective from those individuals, just like this documentary did. So I was, once again, thank you for putting it in my, um, in my vision, so I can watch and check it out because it was mighty interesting. Okay, I'm ready for
Okay.
you now. Go.
So I'm glad you said so you watched it.
Oh, you think I'm not gonna watch something about this? Oh, please believe I'm gonna watch it.
I
You
just
ain't
want to
about to.
make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
got notes, boo boo. I have notes. Go
Me
ahead.
too. So this will be good. So with that being said, also if anybody is well versed in the trans world or knowledgeable about it. Please correct me if I'm incorrect, if I say something incorrect, if I explain something incorrectly. I'm just trying to get an understanding of it because it seems like the trans world is what I just said, a world. Like you have to know how to address people correctly, appropriately. You have to know how to describe a person. You have to know what's not appropriate, what is appropriate. You have to know how to approach people, how to be respectable, just like you would if, again, someone was of a different culture. If they were
Oh, you
connected,
took the words out my mouth.
right? If
Oh,
somebody was tribe, if somebody was from a different continent, if someone did not eat the same foods that you ate, you can't see them eating and say, "Ew, what's that?" There's a way to approach somebody about what they indulge in and get an understanding. So when
don't yuck somebody else's yum.
I hate it. I teach my kids not to do that all the time. So when I talk, I'm trying to find the appropriate words to discuss what my understanding is of what I watched. So there's a Transhood is a documentary film about young people who accept and connect their sexuality early. So basically, on there is a few families that are for their child choosing their identity and the life that they want to live and how they want to live it earlier on. So
Mm-hmm.
growing up, I remember going to school, being outside, or my mom babysitting a lot of children. And you see their personality, you just like, okay, I have brothers. I know all my brothers act this way. And I didn't have any sisters, so I was the youngest and I was the only girl, but I was a tomboy. But it wasn't where I was fighting my mom not to put on dresses. I was fighting my mom not to put on panties, or, everything about me was really masculine. It wasn't that. It was
Mm-hmm.
just I saw my brothers dress and I just wanted my clothes to be loose. And she
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to sometimes choose what I wanted to wear, how I wanted to look. But then she also gave me a boundary of, okay, on Sunday, you're going to wear these stockings. You're going to wear these brimmed socks. You're going to wear these shoes. You're going to wear this
Mm-hmm.
dress with all this lace on it. I'm going to put your hair in bows. My hair was very long. And I was okay with that on Sundays, but she knew that I was most comfortable in pants. Like I did not show my knees until I was 17 years old, because I always felt like my legs were ugly. I didn't want to show my legs. And I had to think about the boys that I went to school with, and I actually saw them a little bit more open to doing things girls did, like play with girls things, jump rope, um, play with
Those are
their
girls in
dolls.
there. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the double dutch and hopscotch, groups of girls played that. I never saw like groups of boys come over and be like, I want to play. Like that was like something distinct that you saw a recess, on the playground, outside, that boys did and girls did. So now,
Hmm.
now that I have two kids, I can see children who are boys with more feminine ways about them.
Okay.
I can see little girls with more boyish mannerisms. But
Masculine ways.
yeah, but as a mom, I watched this Transhood documentary and I said, would I allow one of my daughters to come to me bothered by what they saw in their reflection and see their mannerisms, that they identify more with boy-like things and they want to wear boy-like things and they don't want to be called the name I put on their birth certificate, and allow
Yeah.
them to tell me, this is my name. I'm not
Yeah.
a girl. This is what I want to choose. And I had to ask myself, would I allow that? now that I have two girls and I can say they act like girls, they talk like girls, their voices are very girly, they like girl like things, I would say no because I see their personality. But
Mm-hmm.
what if my child, personality wise, showed me something completely different? Would I be open to that? And I watched the documentary and I thought about it, and I really don't know if I will be open to my child choosing at such a young age, like 4, 7 years old, 12 years old, 15 years old, redefining their sex
Yeah,
and what they want. Like, what do you think about that?
man. So first of all, thank you for sharing about your childhood and your upbringing. And by the way, I have my sweater on as well. I have so I'm feeling the mature Drake tonight. So, but you know you get it. So with the thick collar. Um, so when you explained your childhood and your upbringing, and that's
Yeah,
something. And thank you for you've been on the makings. You yet haven't been released yet, but
yeah,
it, you come from Jamaican descent, and being over here in America, you explain the relationship between your parents as well as your siblings, and it goes into where you come from, how you were raised. And I
right.
believe you came up in the um what? Oh my goodness, I know this was up north, correct?
Philly.
Am I
I
correct
was.
about that? Philly, yes, Philly. A little rugged up there in Philly. Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard compared to others, maybe. But like for instance, when and you're raised to have certain gender norms, okay?
Right,
Things are supposed to go like this or and like that. Boys supposed to do this, girls supposed to do that, da 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 da. Okay. And we believe that because the people who raised us supposed to love us. You know what I mean?
right,
And they supposed to lay things out in front of us, how things in their culture, how things should go and how, things should be molded. So my change to share a little bit about mine, like mine, I wouldn't say that I like playing with dolls or anything like that, but I've stated I've had my cousin come on one of our previous episodes of season 2, and he's homosexual, and it was called Knowing Who You Are, and it was such a deep conversation. We had to have two parts, and
mhm,
my background is in social work. I'm in HR. I worked in child welfare. Yada, I can go into all of these, and I've seen numerous different children, and their personalities and feelings, and I advocated for children's rights. I still do that. But
right,
like with my childhood, I remember growing up, I said on the show, I wouldn't say we compare being excited, open, um, flamboyant to being gay or
mm,
being feminine.
yeah,
And I remember it's a picture, man. I know you'll crack up laughing because my auntie got it somewhere, but it was a family reunion picture, okay, and it's like 30, 40 people in my family during this picture. This way before COVID, y'all. So we're chilling and like we take, I'm sitting on the floor with the rest of the kids and I'm looking at it. I got my arms out, like I'm doing a show, smiling big, eyes big, and I'm like, yeah. If somebody didn't know me, they're like, that little boy gay. Unfortunately, they would say that, and they would
yeah,
say that because I'm happy. I'm
yeah,
I'm coming off as attention. That never nothing even sexual. I like girls.
mm,
And it was just to that point we put that on children. So, but my mother also is just a little bit different to my childhood. My uncle, which was homosexual, and my mother, which was, my mom, she identified as heterosexual.
mhm.
They sat me down and they explained me the birds and the bees when I was 5 years old. The
Oh wow,
birds and all the type of bees, okay? Everything, detail. They didn't
yeah,
use pocketbook or bunny rabbit or snake. They use this is your penis, what people may
mm,
call a dick, this, and then
mhm,
all these other things. This is a vagina. They have this excretes that. They have children come along. I'm like, whoa. And they're
yeah,
like, if, it was other things in that conversation, but I was explaining at the early age. And it goes into what the people who raised you teach you.
mhm,
And within this this documentary, man, I enjoyed it because you saw 4 different sides. You had 4 different families, okay.
yeah,
And once again, this is film Transhood came out in 2020, runtime an hour and 36 minutes.
mhm,
Um, Sharon Leese, I think I'm pronouncing her name correctly, is the director and producer. But four different families, and with some, I was watching it. First of all, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm glad I'm watching this. Then I started
Mhm.
even getting upset, like first like 30, 40 minutes. Then I started getting a little emotional. I'm like, damn, this
Yeah.
is sad. I understand. Then after, throughout some other parts, I was like, I knew that shit was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, then at the end, I'm like, I'm happy for some of the people, and I'm kind of like disappointed in others. And this is not like they put it out there. They know this for us to
Mhm.
have these comments and for us to have conversations like this, because with the particular family, um, Jay, I think no, not Jay, Phoenix, the story about Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, it showed that the parent had a change of mind, the child had a change of mind, the parent had a change of mind, and that change of mind came from and let everybody. This is going to be spoiler warnings if you don't know this already. So spoiler
Yeah.
alert, okay? If you're going to
Spoilers,
watch it,
spoilers, spoilers.
yes, yes. That like when they had a divorce between the parents,
Yeah.
and her whole mindset changed when she started going around her family again. And
Yeah.
I knew she was gonna blame him. She was the pro person for it initially. She showed some reservations, but as the years went by, from it started in 2014, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 20?
Mhm.
I know it was in 2015, but by the time it got to the point, she was like, "Oh, that's all on him." He was more open, so you saw the difference when a parent giving, and all these parents kind of gave them that way to open to express themselves, like you were going for it.
Yeah.
Like with me, I don't have kids yet, but I
Mhm.
already know I've mentored. I've had family members live with me, and I come from how I was raised, and I think I was raised well from certain parts of my family. But I'm like, it's not about even the sexuality. It's about the choice. None of these kids had a lot of freedom.
Mhm.
All these kids had a lot of freedom. When I can see the tell the parent what they want to do.
Listen,
It was
we never got to do that.
And that's the difference. I think, would you want that? It's not even so much about the sexuality, what they want to do that, because that's a part, but it's having the freedom to tell my parent, oh, I'm not going to do this, or no, you should do this, and this is, you're interrupting me, you shouldn't interrupt me. What? I'm not saying, you know, what? Okay.
Yeah.
And like with the kid Avery, um, it was a boy became a girl, transition to girl. He was like, well, I saw she was I saw her mature throughout the years. I did, but in
Yeah.
one part of life, I would have been, man, body slammed all over the place. Who you talking to like that? But her parents giving her ability to talk like that, be like that, and I actually felt to a point at the beginning of it, and even the grandparents said, "You're trying to exploit my grandchild."
Mhm.
And I believe that too, because they wanted her to be an activist more than anything else.
The one
And
you
it came
had National
the
Geographic to
yes,
to
the one on National Avery,
yeah, felt like
the
that.
one that became a gamer and all that.
Yeah.
I feel like their parents were trying to exploit their child, but that's me, and that's their child.
Yeah.
And everything we're saying right here is our opinion,
Yes.
just an opinion. It's nothing about hate, nothing going against them, but every household is different. That's their household.
Yeah.
What they do in their household is what they do in their household, as long as no child being hurt, um, neglected, and things of that nature. None of these children seem to be neglected or abused.
Mhm.
Now, like you can lean on emotionally. Some people can go towards that
Mhm.
because there was a lot of they expose these children to a lot of things. Even though I was exposed to a lot, but I think this is to protect me from somebody else can telling me, "Oh, this is how you do this, and this is how to do that." Because
Right.
when I had the birds and the bees conversation, they also told me about drugs, alcohol, tobacco, all that stuff as well. But with this one, like going back to Phoenix, Phoenix is with a little chubby kid, and
Mhm.
he was, it was a boy initially. No, it was born a boy,
Mhm.
and he was like 3 or 4. Talking about he was a girl,
Yeah.
and the parents then like when he turned like 5 or 6, he like, no, I'm a boy. What the hell you talking about? I'm a boy, you know.
Mhm.
And the dad was a little bit more open and a little bit more um where I'm like liberal for it. It. Then
But even
these are the terminology they use in the show. But go
when
ahead, go
it
ahead, go ahead.
came to his birthday or her birthday, no family wanted to show up because they were so against it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the culture. Either they can accept or deny. It was like that in several of them. Even with Jay, the girl that transitioned to a boy with
Mm-hmm.
his mom was getting the question. I didn't want to rewind it, but was the mother married already at the beginning, or that was like her sister or something? I know she got married at the end, but she was with
Mm,
someone at the beginning. I can't remember.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay. But as far as like with Phoenix, the chubby kid, I hate calling him chubby, but I'm just trying to identify. If y'all watch this, it had a kid with colored hair. It had
Vision,
a teenager. Go ahead.
yeah, a teenager with red hair. I didn't write down none of their names.
Oh
Um,
my god,
was the one with color hair was like this skinnier
that was
kid.
Avery.
Okay, and then there was Phoenix, which is the one that has the younger siblings. That
Was that an older sibling and a younger sibling?
yeah.
Cause I
So this is what I feel like happened with Phoenix. I feel like
okay, cause that's the one I want to talk about. But go ahead.
I feel like he was born a boy, and because there was a home with the mom and dad, and there was a sibling close to his age that was the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
He
Bingo. Go
identified
ahead.
more with the things that she wanted to do and the things that she got. So a lot of times when you have kids that are closer in age, no matter if it's two boys or two girls or a boy and a girl, they might
Mm-hmm.
automatically fake like they want to do the same thing their sibling wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
or they want the same treatment their sibling gets. And I think that happens all the time. But at the same time, you have to create boundaries for your children and say, this is something that Anya wants to do. And she's a girl, and girls do these things. What do you want to do? You want to play with cars? Do you want to color? Do you want to look at artwork? Do you want to go look at bugs or whatever? Or do you guys want to play a board game together that's not, more for boys or more for girls? Like, I felt like if they introduced him to more options as a child in a childlike manner, he wouldn't feel like he had to basically imitate his sister. And I think that's what happened with that. And because his parents were more open about allowing him to do that, I feel like he
Right.
feels like it's just a thing that we do. Kind of like dress up. But it's not
Yeah.
dress
Yeah.
up because now you're allowing this 4-year old to make adult decisions as a child with the child mind.
Like, and I would agree to that. What you expose them to exposure.
Yeah.
I've seen, and so let's think. I agree to the extent, but with these parents and many other parents are like, I know other psychologists, doctors, people that's in great. They would, their kids can go down. Okay, they go to Toys R Us, RIP to Toys R Us. Okay, I'm aging myself. Go to Walmart. Let's say that, and I think they're going to try to do away with this as well.
Yeah.
You have sometimes you have a toy aisle for the boys. You have a toy aisle for the girls. So the boy, her son, would go to the toy aisle for the boys. That's just automatically. Let's see what these Transformers talking about. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All Power Rangers, all that good shit. That's good stuff. But um, but she, as the parent, she was like, "Hey, would you like to go down the girl aisle? Would you like the pink aisle? Would you think anything? Would you like to see anything from there?"
Mm-hmm.
That's the type of exposure I see somebody can present. And that's something that if they want to feel in their country, they feel comfortable with, that's fine. Me being, if Lord blesses me with children case, I'm not going to do that. And that should be fine as well. Because once
Mm-hmm.
again, parents can open their children up how they want to open it. Something I think every parent should have their kids read books. Some parents don't believe in that. You know what I
That's
mean? You
me.
know?
Like
Hmm?
with Anya. Anya was always like a curious kid, right? My firstborn.
Hmm.
And I always talked to her like I would talk to a grown up. And that helped her speak early. And I would read to her. Um, I would write with her, and she was spelling and saying my name at 3 years old.
Hmm.
She was reading my name at 3 years old. And I feel like whatever you feed your child and give your child the opportunity to grasp, that's what they're going to grasp. If I was his mom, I wouldn't say anything in regards to coming up to a toy aisle. I'll just let them choose. I feel like
Yeah,
I feel like her saying, "Do you want to go in the pink aisle or the girls aisle?" I feel like it's kind of like you're cheering him to choose this. You're not
she
allowing
was.
him.
That's exactly what she was doing. Well,
And
she said she was giving him exposure. That's the thing about it. It's exposure, and it's not so much a structure. And that's the thing
mhm,
about it. You're removing the structure from it. And I come from a more of it's a certain type of structure. Let me say that, because you can have structure, but every household is different. And let's see, with this, going back to Phoenix situation, his dad didn't seem like he had too much structure. Maybe I'm
mhm.
wrong, but I don't think I am, because
He
I don't
didn't.
know if he lost his job right when they start talking about him staying home working. Next scene, you ever talking
Yeah,
about getting a divorce? Oop, oop, saw that coming. You know,
yeah.
it's like, but as well as, was he homeless at a time? Because at a certain point, they would meet him at parks and stuff. So,
I don't.
and no telling what type of drama they had within that relationship, but it seemed like she put it like, I don't know what I was doing. I was in love. I was with this guy. He was like a bum. He had me
Mm,
misguided. But she moved in back with her parents, I'm assuming, and her parents may have had a different type of structure, and
yeah,
that would made helped out with trying to structure their child for what they should and should not do. Now, going back to the toys, like you mentioned earlier, jump rope was a girl thing. I was like, what? I used to
hmm.
jump rope my butt off as a kid. I'm like, because
Listen,
we had jump rope for heart. We had like jump rope competitions. I went once again. Everybody don't know me. Shout out once again, Mr. D 713 with everything culture, or 713 Drake here on stereo. I was a
hmm,
fat kid. That was my cardio. Okay, my
hmm,
little chubby butt could jump rope. If anything else I could do, I could jump rope. So
yeah.
in that, but that hearing that, I'm like, but I believe you. Like even with hopscotch, all these things, like some kids may say some stuff, but a lot of the boys will play with the girls will play with the boys. Like,
Listen, and
so we
and
kind of was like cool about it.
yeah, in a Jamaican culture, if
Hmm.
your uncles, your dad, your grandmother catch you playing with something that's deemed girly,
It's a
uh,
problem.
speaking in a way that's deemed girly, uh, you know, you're too close to this girl, whether you're related or not. It's a problem,
Hmm.
and that's
Hmm.
how my parents were raised. That's how my grandfather,
Hmm.
my grandmother on my mom's side, you were not allowed to listen to any secular music. She would whoop everybody, and
Hmm.
it's
No, too
different.
short.
So that would have never been even an option, which is why in a Caribbean culture for years it was like if the community found out that you were trans or lesbian or gay, you were deemed to be wicked, and sometimes people would get stoned. Sometimes
Oh,
policemen watch people.
machetes. I've seen
Everything.
videos. I've did research, and on the show I had to correct some. My cousin as one of the guests,
Yeah.
because in my community, in my culture, being black, or I would say in the subculture being African American, some people don't want to identify, but being from America, um, hell, they say, oh, here African Americans and black people, they're the most homophobic people. No, no, we're not.
Yeah.
It's like it's homophobia in our community, yes, and same thing with many others. But
Yeah.
I've had guests come on the show and they're from Iraq and they're like, you get murdered. That it's against the law.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that is horrible. you
Yeah,
know,
and people hide it. People hide who they truly are.
and that's why we talk about on the show that I had is know who you are. Because my cousin, and I'm gonna give a little like experience. And once again, I hate telling other people's stories, but since coming on the show, I can share what was on the episode. But he expressed, I remember seeing he graduated from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't seen him like in maybe 3 years or so. And he's my cousin's. Let me go back. He's my first cousin's son. So it's that's my your first cousin once removed or something like that. Um, his dad is the most masculine representing male in my family. Well, when I say masculine representing, he got big tough guy. Every time you see him, you got to have to box, wrestle. He's the reason why I had to muscle up because every time I saw him, he want to fight. When I got about ninth, 10th grade, I got the muscles, slim down, in shape, I'm benching good 300-400 pounds. He was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to play with you no more. We good. You got it. You did it. I'm like, I leave you alone. And I'm now thinking about it. Was he doing all that wrestling, fighting every time we saw him was to toughen me up? Because I'm telling you, every time you see him, like your mother be around, he'll get you away from your mother, and he's gonna like, and it's not no like ha ha he he. You fighting him, okay?
You see what
So
happened in Lovecraft Country? I mean,
you,
that it was a
that's what
show.
I'm talking about. But you see what I mean? But that's what I'm talking about. I experience these things. That's why it's correlation to it. But the wildest stuff. His
Mm-hmm.
oldest son is very like something like he never wanted us to be like that, but his
Mm-hmm.
oldest son is gay, out, boyfriend, nipple
Mm-hmm.
piercings, all that stuff. Okay, and we talk about it on the show. We talk about it live. It's so interesting that I know it's a relationship and it's a conversation that I've had with both of my cousins about it because
Mm-hmm.
about love at the end of the day. We have numerous people in our family that's homosexual, but
Mm-hmm.
he struggled with this in his life. Talking about was he born this way or was he made this way? Is it nature versus nurture?
Yeah.
And while doing the show, it came up that he wanted to date black women. He was in high school. I remember when he graduated from high school, he had a
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend. I saw him at his high school graduation, and we went to a party. It was like a little dinner. I forgot what restaurant, but I remember looking. He had a girlfriend, cute girl. And I'm like, he had the feminine ways, and I'm like, that really
Growing up,
your girlfriend or your home girl?
did you see that in his personality growing up?
Oh, no, I did not see it in his personality growing up. But once again, I was out of his life for like 3 years, and he was
Uh,
raised solely by like majority by his mom. His mom had nothing but girls, and his mother. Like I'm telling you, if you listen to the show, it's like wow, it's pretty. And I love him for coming on the show. I got to give him a gift for Christmas. But
mm-hmm.
he stated it, but he like he tried to date black women because he loved black women. He still find like me and him both share the same love for Jill Scott, and not in I like her hair, but like she find and she's very sexy. Okay, like like hold my tongue, but and he like maybe he said at the time he made maybe I'm bisexual, and he hit me up after the show like he got attacked by the LGBT like his group of friends talking about no you gay don't be thinking like this I'm putting it like it was like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even think about the flag with a drawback or the clapback from that community. I was ready to defend him from any of my homeboys or peers, if they had a problem with him. I don't even know how to defend you from your community, right? That's a community I don't belong to. Can I say
Mm-hmm.
something to them? Like, and even on the show when we did the live on Sunday, one of the girls hollered at him. She's like, I don't mind dating guys that like guys. And I was like, oh, look at like I don't know how to react to that. Okay, Debbie, you you still got it. But
Yeah.
it's one of the things that he says that he don't know if he was just automatically like this or just things that happened to his life because he prayed about this and he's like, God, why am I struggling with this? Because even when he dated the black girl, he would act tough, act hard, and all that. But as soon as they got along together and they chilling, his feminine ways would come out, and they're like, "Ugh, nigga, you gay," you know. And he was like, "Well, I tried. I'm trying to be straight. What else can I do?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Am I making sense? Like,
Yeah.
how long can you fake it to make it? If that's
Yeah.
what you are, if that's how you feel, if like it's, I know it's you sort of battle it. It's a consistent battle what people say, but man, like right now, I'm sort of being trying to eat well. I just told you at the beginning of this episode, I went downstairs and got an apple pie, and it's already gone. Okay, so that's how you know. So who am I to judge an individual for his lifestyle? Because we all have our lifestyles and how we work and operate. But when we go to this as a child and getting the shots and the trans, that's something that I have reservations for me personally. Not me being professional or anything as far as I don't want them doing it. But in my household, a child really doesn't have much say other than what's in there. You know, other than like, hey, I would like to have this. I would like to have that. Other than, this is what I'm going to, this is what I have, and this is what I'm like. You gonna have to start paying bills around here, Bucko. Like, what do you mean? Like, I wasn't allowed to do certain things in the childhood. I understood. Uh, um, if I wanted to date a girl, mine was like, well, you can't do this, this, and this in this household. And
Hmm.
when I heard this, and that, heard the rules, well, I guess I gotta go. You know, you know.
That's what
So
I should say as a mom. Today's TV is not for kids. Today's shows is not for kids. You have shows that are on the Disney Channel with kids basically in it, no adults in it really, unless they're working somewhere. And you have kids just moving about. They're in hotels. They're getting out of cars. They're at home by themselves. There's no parents in the house. They're not doing homework. They're talking about whose best friend is whose girlfriend is this, whose boyfriend is this. And I'm just like, there's
they're
no
just
way that
grown.
my 7-year-old could come from school and be like, that's not my friend, that's my boyfriend. Excuse you?
Ooh, oh, and who had a girlfriend? Um, oh, and with okay, let me pull up the name with
Oh, it
Jay.
was Jay.
Yeah, with Jay, the one that had the girlfriend at 13. I'm like, ooh, that was in middle school. I was
This
one of I know some people had girlfriends and boyfriends in middle school. I wasn't allowed to have that in middle school.
what
And but the
what's
whole
the age,
time, go ahead.
what's the age for middle school? 12, 13?
Um, middle school is like 11 to 13.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, 6, 7 to 8. And but Jay was born a girl and was transitioned to a boy, but in middle school had a girl friend that
Mm-hmm.
did not know, and the family did not know. And I was like, that was kind of that was a
Irresponsible.
lot. Yeah.
And then for
So,
her not to prepare her child for that as a possibility that can happen, that was irresponsible on her part. I feel like
absolutely.
just like um parents of different race children that lived in the South in in the 50s, right? And there
Hmm.
was blatant outspoken racism. You have to raise your child, protect your child, but also teach your child that this is whites only. You have to let your child know that they cannot talk back to someone with this skin color. And I think about that and I imagine me now having to teach my kids that on top of everything else I got to teach them. That's stressful. But if you're choosing as a parent to allow your child to dictate their sex and their identity, there are things that you have to be ahead of and preventative of and prepare your child to deal with. And
You said it right there.
if you're allowing your daughter who chose to identify as a boy and change her name to Jay, fine. If you're
No,
okay
no,
with
they not only change only you. If you're talking about the birth certificate, change the name
yeah,
and change the sex on the birth certificate.
yeah, and then you allow that child then to dictate getting injections to prevent female changes in the body to occur, that costs $2,000 as a single mother, you have to know what you're taking on before you even bring it to your child as an option. So I always felt like the whole story with Jay was very irresponsible on the part.
Oh man, and that's what I say. All of this, I would. I don't mind bringing the kids on because I saw the kids' story. I want to
Yeah.
talk to the parents.
Yeah.
I want to talk to each one of the parents and see their mindset on things. Because one, I'm sharing. I'm not big on the documentary, reality TV documentaries and all this stuff. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of because I think it's ruin families more than anything else.
Oh,
This
when they go on
putting
there.
putting Yeah, because I'm like, man, I can imagine if I have a camera following me around all the time with my wife and I, my significant other, how you want to put it? Well, I said my wife, that's how I'm gonna put it. And every time we're in our business being shared, that's
Mm,
like the main problem you're gonna have right there. Keep people out your business. I tell people that all the time. If you want to be happy, keep people out your business.
yeah.
And
Hold
I
on.
ain't trying to say,
Let me take
go
this
ahead.
voice now.
Nah, yeah, today right now, man, they going wild, man. They trying to indoctrinate kids, teens, everybody, man. It's not even about you having your own thoughts, your own choice. If you don't want to think like them, something wrong with you. But in reality, something wrong with them. It's just abnormal shit. Shit is crazy, man. Hollywood basically trying to raise your kids, man.
Well, if you don't raise them, somebody else go raise them. Please believe that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you that. And if
Yeah.
it ain't gonna be Hollywood, it's gonna be these streets. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm like, that's the point. That's why my mother and my uncle sat me down and they told me that we tell you this before anybody else get to you. They gave me a swig of beer, let me puff on a cigarette, and let me chew tobacco. I
Oh
don't
no.
drink beer. I don't like beer. I damn sure
Me
don't like
either.
tobacco, and I hate cigarettes. Okay,
Listen,
I'll pop it. I'll pop an edible. You feel me? But
all the
other than that, the
I said
smoking ain't for me.
I drank more beer between the age of 4 and 6 years old than I have as an adult.
You
And that's
did.
because my dad will always send me to the fridge to go get it, pop it open, and bring it to him, and I would take sips.
Oh no, oh no. See, I'm telling you, they said me that I was 5 years old. I'm talking about there was like I don't know if somebody got touched in my family. I don't know what happened, but they
Mm-hmm.
got together. I mean, they broke every single thing down to me, and they're like, if somebody ever touch you in your private parts, you mess them up, and you come to us immediately,
Mm-hmm.
immediately. And I'm like, yes, man, yes, sir. But
Yeah.
if we're going into where, oh, and side note, let me tell you a secret. I've been using my wife's AirPods, and
Mm-hmm.
I be talking noises like she go lose them all the time. I lost one,
Oh
but
no.
oh my god! And thank God I just found it. I am so happy right now. Okay, let's continue. Like, oh, I was stressed. I was stressed about that. Okay, but like that's been going on the back of my head like for the past 2 days. Um. Oh, but yeah. So it's like once again, it's how you raise your child. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if your child get to a certain age and hey, I want to be this I want to identify as, I want to get the surgery. Okay. Once again, it's one of the things you have to do
What
that on your own dial.
you as if you
Hmm?
when you become a parent, what age would be that for you?
When at 18, grown out the house.
Okay.
Once
Okay.
again, it's like one of the things, love them, but I wasn't allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to support you in your dreams and stuff like that. But if it's something I don't support, we don't have a correlation. I ain't gonna rock with it. You know. Once again, I
Mm-hmm.
want you to be happy and be comfortable making payments towards that. If like my thing, if I name you, Brandon Jr. and you don't want to be Brandon Jr. anymore, that's fine. Will you help me change the name?
Nope.
No, like, like,
I
that's
said, why did you name me Anya? I said because I always hated my name growing up because it was very girly. It was supposed to be pronounced a certain way, and nobody could get it right. And I hated
oh, I
having
hear
to
that all the
my
time.
signs. So I said, if I have kids, I'm gonna give them short, easy names. And I felt like Anya was an easy name, but still today people say it wrong. So she was like, I don't want to be Anya. Can I change my name? I said, you could change your name when you 24. You could pay your own bills. You could pay some of my bills. You could change your name if you want to, but for right now, you're gonna be Anya.
You gotta pay some of your bills.
Yep.
See, and that's why I'm like, be who you, like, it comes responsibility. That's what the biggest thing I'm seeing with a lot of not even children and these young adults as well. That
Mm-hmm.
they have this privilege. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, you didn't see anybody in this show that was a person of color. I'll tell you that. But
No,
you can have this. I ain't saying that's the sole reason, but it's a big reason.
it's a lot
But
because we have like a different set of boundaries that come with our culture.
because we don't have privilege. That's the point. We don't have that max amount of privilege.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I would say and that's why I say when we talk about Black Lives Matter, I absolutely agree. And that's where people, trans lives matter, trans lives matter, and gay lives matter. They do matter. Black, all of these being black, because you just adding another minority on to yourself. You
Yeah.
know, and then for that's what's happening, and your life still matter at the end of the day. Because with being someone of a like, the killings and the murderings that they were showing on television of the trans individual in Kansas,
Mm-hmm.
how I wanted to know the ethnicity. I wish they would have shared that.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to know because it's I can only imagine, with people that have these feelings and thoughts, what they may experience and the fear they have, as young adults, even in the children. And once again, I feel like, especially with the Avery child, I still believe the parents were hyping that child up to say certain things. Because remember, when Avery, when she became at a certain age, she didn't want to do it no more. And the mother especially, was kind of like, "You sure? You sure? Let this person be a child. Let them be a child. You're trying to make a message through your child." And that's what parents usually do. Even though they say they're not trying to structure the child, they're doing exactly that. They're trying to structure their child for what they want. And
Yeah.
is that what it is? Because me being a parent, I don't know if my child's going to be artistic, or they're going to be a talker like their dad, or they're going to be just a grind out getting things down like a mom. Is they're going to be hardworking like their dad? Like what they're going to be, or they just going to be hard headed like their uncle, or how I don't know how that's going to turn out. The only thing I can do is lead by the best example I can lead, put them in people and communities that's going to build into them, and pray. That's what I have to do.
Yeah. When it comes to
Because,
kids,
but
don't choose who they become.
hmm
You guide, you witness, you observe, you bring the resources, you put them in the middle of the table, put it in the middle of the floor, and you just watch what they gravitate to. And then you
mm,
see how they use that thing, and you see how their mind works. And then you try something else that's new, and you add it to see if they can figure that out. And you just build and build and build. And that's how you allow your child to figure out who they are, and you don't dictate that. So I always
yeah,
knew whether I had boys or girls, I would never be like, "Oh, I love football. I'm gonna make sure my son play football." Oh,
yeah,
um, if my child is pretty, I'm gonna make sure I put her in modeling as a baby, so she could do modeling as a little girl and then a teenager, and then she can make her own money. Why isn't the goal? I just want to have a healthy child.
hmm
I want to raise a child to make it to their first birthday and their second birthday and their fifth birthday. And I want to make sure that I pour into this child that I have that made it this far way better than my parents could pour into me. I
yeah,
think I think a lot of parents today put things on children that are not for children. They have so much time to get to that. They have so much time to get to a cell phone. They have so much time to get on computers. Even this virtual learning thing is a lot for a lot of kids. Kids are not supposed to
Ooh,
be on computers this many hours a day.
sis. Okay, okay. See, I just talked to a young woman on Instagram. I thought she was an adult. Come to find out, she's 18 in high school. I like that was dangerous, and it was nothing crazy. It was just, she went Instagram live. I was like, let me jump into somebody live, see what they talking about. Only went in there, so I asked some questions and find out. Oh, by the time I jumped in the live, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in school right now. I think she in college. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in high school." I'm like, we're great.
He felt uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, like I don't like this. But everything culture, age is part of culture, but we start
Yeah.
talking about that. And she was like, "Oh my God, that's part of it." She was just talking about school and like how the culture go change, and she going to college with the hybrid learning. What she was saying,
Mm-hmm.
and this was an 18-year-old white girl too, white woman. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, that's super dangerous where I come from." But all in
Yeah.
all, it was a great conversation, and I was like, by the time you get in the workforce, this is going to be. You know, we're already, and I'm in HR. We're already talking about what it's going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm.
You think it's going to be like everything's changed, and people don't like change. Well, certain people don't like change, but you have to understand change is going to happen no matter what, and the
Yeah.
changes could be good. And so it's like when we teach our kids, things are going to come up, and one of the questions, you're going to making you. I added a new question. There's two new questions. What is something that you want to break or something you want to change that's been in your family? What is something you want to keep? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's something that was the worst advice you ever received. And I got that
Mm.
from Leah from Take Up Space Pod.
Yeah.
But we got those type of ideologies that we hold on to. And you and I, we've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
We've broken cycles in our family. We don't bring our children, or we don't bring ourselves, or you don't bring your children around certain people in your family anymore. Even though a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people in our family still accept that.
Yeah.
So you're breaking that toxic family. I'm gonna force you around that person because it's family at the end of the day. Other than correcting the problem, it's like you have a wolf and you're blaming the sheep and you're
Like
not
what?
taking care of the wolf.
How low was your haircut? What were you wearing around this person? It's not about that.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
about that. I'm a child.
yeah. Absolutely, I agree. And it's just where we get to that as we get to that point where when children had that decision once again, because we
Mm-hmm.
have to protect our children. And I think these parents, I don't think all of them were trying to protect their kids. They were trying to protect their opinion more than from the world. And that's a two-sided coin right there. Honestly, it's a two-sided coin because you mentioned earlier about growing up in the South and being told, telling your kids you can't do this and because play that. You and I've had that conversation before too, long time ago. Even though we don't haven't known each other too long, but
Yeah.
it was something about why would you live in the South? And I'm like, well, that's my home too.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up here. I went to the teacher. I had schools. I should have
It,
just as many rights
it
as
was
everyone else.
over that case where they wouldn't let that boy graduate because of his
His
locks.
hair, his dreads,
Yeah.
and I'm big on no. We gonna change this because it has to
Yeah.
change. And going because I've been to these schools. I've been. There's so many stories I can tell how things they accept from people. Say from white boys and white girls. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have any. I don't have any stories I can tell you about white girls that ran over, killed people because they were drunk driving and don't even spend a lick of jail
It
time
pissed
because they
It happens with
daddy or their uncle is a judge or the
yes,
sheriff. A
money.
black boy, yeah, man, it's money and it's connections. It's
Yeah.
not only because same thing with that Kyle Ritten. What's the boy that went up there, 17-year-old, shot the protesters, and they try to blame
All
everyone
that
else.
put the millions of dollars together for that man bail.
That's my point. He didn't have money. They had connections. The people who supported his hatred ways had
Yeah.
money, and that's the point. And this has been a cycle for that. So how are we gonna break these things and make something anew? But
I think and I think we need to break things and things should be broken because things are evolving. But at the same
hmm
time, I'm just a parent where if I want things to change for my kids and my kids are in the thing that's not changing, I have to have a boundary and a limit on how much time am I going to allow my child to be in this environment that's hateful towards them and want change and nothing's happening. Am I going to rob my
Agreed.
child of 5 years going to this school that does not like them, that treats them like this? Or am I going to take my child into an environment where they can embrace their childhood, and we'll still focus on fixing that? But while I'm fixing it, I'm not going to have my child dealing with the cons of being here. And that's
Okay.
the issue with a lot of families that are in cities where the schools aren't up to par, the resources aren't up to par. And if you have the means to move, I feel like you should move. I'm not saying forget about this place where you grew up and where you want to be, but for the sake of your childhood, get them out of there while you fix it. It's
see.
kind of
Now
like
you
it's
about
kind
to, you
of a
about.
house.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If a house had a big hole in the roof, am I gonna say
Hmm.
no? I spent all my money in this house. I'm not leaving. My kids are gonna be here. We're gonna make it work. Am I gonna put my children in a temporary apartment or a place and let them enjoy being comfortable in a home while I work on this house? That's how I see it. Like you can be. I'm from Philly, and Philly is getting gentrified. But the way that
Like,
kids can't even play outside because they might get shot or hit, kids can't even be in their homes because they might get shot. It's not safe to be at parks in Philly. And the schools aren't that great. I would never move my children back there just because that's where I grew up and I like the city. I'm in the South because my child could have a nice sized house, a front and
so
backyard,
sorry.
school, son, go play activities, go to multiple parks in the neighborhood and be comfortable. You have to
Yeah.
choose as a parent what type of childhood, no matter what, especially talking about transhood, you have to choose what type of childhood you want to provide and opportunities to your child.
But you made my point because I understand it can work both sides. Because some of these people are using their children as pawns. Like when I say with once again, I think it's Avery. She was
Yeah.
trying to use her child as a point, as a soldier, as a warrior on this battlefield. Not her. She was there too, but it was like my child will make the difference. She wanted a trans MLK. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong. Once again, but this is my opinion. But and I'm telling you the disappointment, and you know what? At the end of the day, it came back to what it should be about to an extent. It's like, hey, but with a child, she was cutting up on some stuff. They're like, hey, you need to check this little motherfucker, this little individual right here, and because I know that she was doing certain things that she was telling them, sit down, don't do this, be patient. When the
I
National
really feel like
Geographic person
we feel
came,
like that had a behavior issue.
yeah, and it was a behavior issue, that right there, but it also showed that who runs the house. One thing I hate seeing when parents don't run like are the heads of the house.
Yeah.
It can't. I highly believe there only can be one king and one queen in a household.
There's a difference between, Anya coming up to me and saying, I want pasta, cook pasta. And there's a difference between me asking Anya, what would you like for dinner? You have to teach your children that you can't delegate this thing, but you can tell me about this thing. You can tell me about this childlike thing that I know nothing about, but you can't delegate what I cook. You can't delegate where I take you. You can't delegate what I buy. Like certain things you can't speak on
Yeah,
unless I give you
but
the option.
exactly, exactly. And remember, going back to Phoenix, remember that was how old was that baby? That was 4, maybe 3, 4 years old, and they
Yeah.
knew his parents going through a divorce.
Yeah. Too much information. You talk around your kids with adult things. And then most
No,
parents
no,
that
no. It's not talk around. They talk direct. Once again, I understand. I've seen this out, but they were talking directly to that child about, hey, we're going through divorce, and he was like, if they stay together, they stay together. Barely knew how to talk.
It's too
That's
much.
what I thought. I thought the child was somewhat mentally delayed initially, and I think once again, just from my work that I've done, and when he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to read a book at the age of 8,
Mm-hmm.
and the way at the level he may have been dyslexic, or he may not have been given attention that he should have been given, because they're allowing him to do whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because think about it, if you were allowed to do what you want to, if your parents never told you no to an extent, like, nah, we're going to do this, give you any type of structure, what would you
Mm.
be doing?
That's why I tell people telling your children no is loving your children.
Man, my little silly butt used to stick my finger into a lamp
No.
socket when I take the bulb. And and I got whoopings because of that. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a no, because you just told me no, I would have done it again. Which
Mm-hmm.
I was told no, and I did it again. That's how I know it's the truth. But it's like certain things that, once again, it's not just like, oh, you have to beat your child if you care for them. No, I'm not saying that.
No, you have
It,
to
it,
know
it's
what
it's
child you have. Some people have a child where all you have to do is look at them. Some people have a
yeah.
child where all you got to do is threaten them. Some people have a child where you've been talking all day, you've been threatening, you've been looking, and they've been looking you in your eyes as they do the thing that they're not supposed to do, and you have to have another
What you gonna
step.
do about it? What you gonna
Yeah.
do about it, man? I've known cases where I've seen this type of parenting attempt to be utilized. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
for a child that knows how to manipulate, and now
Mm-hmm.
this child is a certain age and is doing stuff that they surely shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely should not be doing. I'm talking about. Don't let me put my hands on them anytime soon. See them, because
Yeah.
this is. But now, and they look at their parents now at the age, like they're a teenager now, and they're like, "I'm gonna do it, and you're not gonna do anything about it." What?
Mm-hmm.
What? And you know why? You've shown them. You showed your hand. You shown your hand.
I
But
think
that's not
it's
the end. And
the
and,
thing.
and my thing is with that. This is the time you got to move out the house. You got to go. I don't care what age. And when you had that mindset, you go do what you want to do when you. And I had this conversation when I had my niece living with me, when my little cousin lived with me,
Mm-hmm.
and she wanted, like, if you're driving, you're trying to work, you don't want to go to school, you want to come in when you want to come in, you're having sex,
Mm-hmm.
huh? You're doing a lot of things that I'm doing already. So maybe you should get your own place.
Yeah.
Maybe you should get your own place. Let me and now she's an adult. She's 22,
Yeah.
23, and now she's struggling. Oh my God! This is I need. Welcome to
Mhm.
adulthood. Welcome to
Yeah.
adulthood. I'm like, and that's how I feel like with some kid, the world is not going to give you everything you want.
No.
They're not going to be like your parents and just, oh, you like to take it, like, it's getting flexible. Hopefully with this work from home stuff, and that's a plus. But I still got to come in. I still got until even with everything culture, I got to work. This is work. We got to edit. We got to share. We got to
Yeah.
network. I got, like with you. We made a commitment to one another to be here to entertain these beautiful people through stereo. What's up,
Right.
y'all? Y'all make sure y'all can leave us some comments. We'd love to hear y'all point of view and perspective.
Right.
And clap it up for us too, and all that flames and snaps and
Appreciate.
all that cute stuff. Um, but if we just left people, and didn't do it, that's not how the world works. You're gonna have a reaction to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm thinking it's with, and I'm not saying about them being trained. I'm talking about giving a child the power to make certain decisions that they may not know what decision they're gonna make. They're gonna affect them for the rest of their life. Now,
And
with the other child, which was Lena, I think
mhm.
Lena was a teenager.
That's 15. The
I
15-year-old.
Get a 15-year-old. Lena was the one, the main one I didn't have. Hey, do your thing.
I felt like that was like a done said deal already chosen.
Yeah.
Y'all been in training for years for this. There's nothing else to.
Mm-hmm.
basically both parents were in agreement, and I'm just like, okay, because if you try to stop her now, she gonna be who she is. And surprisingly, the dad took her to go on her first date,
Mm.
and
Was that?
was like,
Yeah.
excited
Go
about it.
ahead. I love the grandma on there too. I love the grandmother on there.
Oh yeah, she was a
Then the
completely accept.
grandmother was the real one.
Yeah, yeah,
Cause once again, if you switch, it's so unique. You know, you trying to be it's ambiguous.
mm-hmm.
These gender roles are strong unless you find a full community that's going to support your gender roles. Because even like I said with my cousin, they still have gender roles in that lifestyle too, whether you
Yeah,
like it or not. You have a position you play, and when the on the with there like when he was when she was dating the boy and the boy knew he was she was transsexual. The boy was cool with it initially, then left, and she was hiding all her hurt. But the
yeah,
grandmother told you. The grandmother told you. The
yeah.
grandmother tried to put you.
Eight
You getting
shooter.
advice. You're right. She's giving you advice that she would give to her granddaughter. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you gotta know how to accept that type of love. You know what I mean? So that's why I really preferred it. But it just get down to it. You're not gonna be able to make no matter what you move in your world, no matter if you change, you still gonna have difficulties come in your life.
Yeah,
But if but I want to say I can experience that, man. Like once again, I tilt my hat and rub my scalp to Nina because dog couldn't like I said cutting your member off. I
mm,
mean that's woo that's I joke about it all the time, but I am not joking. If I lose that, you might as well take me out with it.
yeah.
So
I
it got to be some commitment, a
when
lot
you're
of
a
commitment.
there's certain things that are always going to test you while you're parenting. You never know like what kid you're going to have. But I also believe in boundaries. I think
Hmm.
your kids' boundaries is like a another level of loving your children. And I wish my mom gave me more boundaries, and I wish my mom pushed me more to try different things and wasn't so like relaxed about it, because it it basically morphed me to be an adult that's in my own bubble, and I don't want to go out and do the things that everybody else is doing, not because I feel like I'm above it. I just don't know how to start that to do it because it was never a
Hmm.
habit. My mom never made me go play with those kids over there and don't stand here with all the adults. She was just like, "Oh, you comfortable standing here with the adults? Go ahead and stand with the adults." And a lot of people, you have a kids table, you have an adult table. My mom was never somebody that was like, "You need to be go over there." And I wish she did that more, or created that space. And a lot of times, and it doesn't have to necessarily be about this topic. It could be if you treat your child in ways of being older than they are, you can't turn around and get mad that your child is talking back to you like your friend, or calling you by,
Yep.
or
First
wanting to be
name.
done, or feeling like they have an option to do what you said. Um, you can't have both. And I see
Yeah.
my friends that are around my age have children around Anya's age, and they're having issues with, she don't listen, she talking back, she think everything I tell her is a choice. Well, you giving her the illusion that y'all are equal.
Hmm.
You can't do that with kids.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
they
And
have a choice. And I've been in relationships with men who have sons who have told me their ultimate fear would be their child coming to them and saying that they are gay, and having to decide if they're okay with that, and how do they love their kid if they say that. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with, what if my child says this? Do I treat them the same? am I okay with it? And that's a whole other conversation culturally that a lot of people battle with.
Man, my biggest fear, whenever I have children, if my son or daughter comes to be talking about, hey, I murdered someone. Hey, I'm going to prison for touching this child, a minor. I'm what? Or somebody touch. It's way more things than hey, I'm attracted to this person of the same sex
Yeah.
as me. Way, way more. That is not my biggest fear. And once again, these fear. Well, the, people hate each other because they fear each other, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest thing about it. And it's a difference from some of these things might be uncomfortable, but when you get to the point that, oh, I hate you, that's the main thing of phobia, and hate comes from fear. And I'm telling you, I say this every day almost, but and once again, that's why I want to get to know people. Like with this episode, with this documentary, it showed several different stories that it's a spectrum. Once again, it's a
Yeah.
spectrum. Everyone's not the same. They all don't belong same categories or beliefs, and I go on and on about it. But it's I just find it to be interesting where men and women, because same thing, people would try to shame you. I talk about people try to shame you for liking for what you like and loving for who you love.
Mm-hmm.
We like just I'm getting ready for we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. People gonna shame you for liking turkey. What? Excuse me. Some you know if somebody like once again you can say it's weird whatever you can say that, but I'm like if this make them feel comfortable and this will make them feel happy and they're not hurting anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
why does it affect you? Now when it
Yeah.
comes down to children, and just like with the mother, she got upset because she didn't want after the girlfriend of Jay, with
Mm-hmm.
Jay is the one with the fade.
Yeah.
After the mother found out, oh, he was trans, like she didn't want her daughter to be around anymore, and that's
Mm-hmm.
her absolute right. That was her
Yeah.
absolute right, because it was not even
But
more about trans.
it's
I
just,
think because you lied, you straight lied.
yeah, it's just like schools that are like fighting to have mandatory sex ed. And if I'm a
Mm,
parent and I say, hey, I don't want my child learning about sex at this age, if they run that policy and make that law, then I have a decision to completely take my child out of that school and do something different.
mm-hmm,
But if they didn't say, hey, we about to tell your kids about sex and just threw it at them one day, you have a right to be upset. You have to give
mm-hmm,
people the space and the time to choose. Just like I think with cheating, I've never experienced someone cheating on me, but I think with cheating, the worst part about cheating is the fact that you felt like you were bonded with the person, you felt like there was an understanding, and someone took your right to decide away.
mm.
And you can't
Understand
do that when it comes to other people's children. You can't take their right to decide away.
that, but it happens a lot though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Happens a whole lot. And because the thing about it, and I understand that coming from a government entity, but once again, this is what's up, everybody. Once again, this is what we do here with Shan. We talk a personal conversation sometimes. We grow with
Yeah.
one another, but I didn't know what masturbation was until I was in high school. Like I was playing football. Like my mom, once again, my mother, God rest her soul, she
Mm-hmm.
was somewhat inappropriate with things. Okay, and it was like I remember she used to say all the time. If I'm playing the game, I need to leave, or she got to run somewhere, and she's in a hurry. She like, all right, Drake, hurry up, stop jacking off in there. And I was like, what? I didn't. I've heard that so many times in
I
my
was
life.
like, I was like, I was 9 or 10 years old when I heard the term um, "beating your meat," and it was because
It,
some little boys in the neighborhood came by the house that were like my brother's friends, and they had said it, and my mom came over and to them, and she was like, "What y'all know about beating your meat?" And my mom is the
Mm.
type of mom where she gonna pull out the encyclopedia, she gonna show you the medical term, she gonna tell you point blank period what something is. And then I had 5 older brothers. And when my mom would wonder
Mm.
where all her washcloths was and go in their room and
Ah,
look, you
still
see those
socks.
standing up by themselves on the floor, she you know, it was self-explanatory. So a lot of things you learn over time, unfortunately. So yeah,
That was a big
something.
shock from my auntie. My auntie had 3 girls. She had 3 girls, and she took me in after they way out the house and all that. Man,
Yeah,
once again, I did not know what this stuff was until like I was at football practice, and
yeah.
dudes were cracking jokes. Oh man, this dude over here, beating the meat, this and that. And I'm like, they weren't even talking to me. I'm like, people be doing that? What? They're like, yeah, man, that's the thing to do. I'm like, man, life ain't never been the same.
It's so scary to know like what today's kids have access to with cell phones. And if you don't give them a
you
cell phone, one of their friends got it, and they can just put things,
man.
watch it, and see it, and order it, and it's kind of like, um,
What you're a little bit younger than me, I believe. So like internet started popping. Like internet wasn't even big on cell phones while I was in high school. Internet started popping like
AOL.
yeah, AOL, but this is a little bit right before, right after. But either way, I remember watching the R. Kelly sex tapes while I was in school. I saw that in class with other
What?
classmates. Yes,
Where was that came
yes.
out?
That's on. This I don't know when it came. The video may have been older, but I
Mhm.
watched it in class with other classmates. This is like boys, girls in high school, junior year in high school. We like, what? That's R. Kelly. That is R. Kelly.
People
The
were
whole
passing the DVD.
see, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. No, it wasn't on DVD. Oh, and no, we had plenty of the DVDs with items and stuff on there too. But this is like, the BTs 43s. If you know what BT stand for, y'all know what's going on. A legend collection. But all this stuff came about where I'm like, man, you didn't have to you didn't have to look as much as you used to have to look. You didn't have to
yeah,
hide as much. I can type in something right now on my phone. I can have it right here in front of me. No
right.
problem, no issues. It's there.
Right.
And kids, a lot of parents don't even look at their kids' phones.
Listen.
Oh, it's a okay, and it's a young. I don't think it's a woman that.
Hmm.
Have you heard of ACE before?
No,
Alliance. It's like
no.
a child. So basically, they're like, I love Dateline NBC. I started loving Dateline NBC when I was in high school because Chris Hansen had the job I wanted to have. I wanted to catch child
Oh,
predators.
the
I
editor.
wanted,
Oh my god.
man, hey, have a seat. Just have a seat. And just because it's kind of like it's not what kind of like look what sit down. Why are you here? you know, what are you
It's
doing?
this, and it
Why do you
blows
have
my
condoms?
mind because I feel like unfortunately, child predators is just something that's not going away like drugs, like people buying sex, like uh,
Because it's not because it's
it's
been
not
here
going to
since the
go
day.
away.
It
It's
used
kind
to
of
be legal. It used to be the norm.
that's crazy to
Hold on,
me.
you cut out for a little bit. What did you say?
I said that's crazy to me. But like right now, since 2012, and I just learned this from watching a documentary in Greece, being a pedophile or attracted to kids is looked at as a disability.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely. I'm, and once again, me doing this type of, I've been in child welfare for years. I'm no longer employed within it, but I still volunteer. I'm not surprised it's going to be in America soon. I'm not because they don't arrest these child predators at all,
They're trying to
the
make it a
men
sin.
or the women. the men or the women. It's hard to actually put a case on a child predator. You know, and then and it's not a federal crime. I don't believe it's state. It goes state by state because the age of consent is different in each state.
Yeah, that's why
Like
I
a
don't.
lot of people talking about it's eight. A lot of people think it's just 18. No, I think I did the research. I have a screenshot somewhere on my phone from months ago.
Are 14 with consent by a parent. Some places are 16.
Hmm.
Crazy is madness. I don't like state laws, and I don't like the fact that it's kind of like when you say, "Hey, here the state law is different." It's like you're asking the people who want this to happen, "Come move here. We allow it." And I don't
But
like that.
that's the
For
part of
certain,
United
for
that. But that's what makes this country great.
no, for certain things, some things
Agreed.
should not be different. Like if I'm speed,
Agreed.
if this is a child area, this is a school zone, this is a park, and it should be 15 miles per hour in this area for common sense
Hmm.
purposes. And
Hmm.
somebody said, state law says that it is okay for you to do 90 here. That's
Hmm.
common sense. That should be not a thing. That's incorrect. That's not a smart thing to allow somebody to do 90 miles per hour through this area. Same thing about uh, a man or a woman having sex as a teacher with a child. There should be one law for that. Not, oh, let's give her 5 months probation. Let's tell her she can't be a teacher in this state so she could go to this state and be a teacher and do the
Yep.
same thing over and over again. It shouldn't be that leniency.
I'm not arguing with you about that, but that's what we have. That's how people know how to work the system. Give people opportunity because same thing we got certain laws that maybe like I'm still like Texas don't have that the state tax, and I think that was I missed that like greatly because I see the difference and especially when I buy a large item. But that's just something different. When it comes down to laws like this, these should be some laws that state or federally wide, or
Yeah.
just be careful with the state that you're in. Because like you were saying earlier, should you just leave the state? If it's something you don't like, just go to a different state because they have this law, or you should just stay and try to make that change.
If you have the reason,
Um,
but I'm not gonna leave my child somewhere where pedophiles could roam freely as bait.
hmm But when I tell you, it's like with Ace, the woman like catches, taking time out, and it's a dangerous thing. And I would
Hmm.
love to like talk about that, but it's just I don't know how we got on talking about Ace, but Ace is just something I'm like, wow, that is something courageous that I see people are doing. It's extremely dangerous. Now they do be talking noise though. I can't say all the things they be saying on there, but I'm like,
Yeah.
and like you say, it's a mental illness. It's going to get to a point where these some of these folks that are pedophiles that you can tell they are mentally ill. Not then you have some that's dudes that's been, old guys trying to get little 15-year-old boys and girls and all that. And they always want to meet at McDonald's too. That's the thing about it. It's like McDonald's is pedophile 101
Right.
area home base. But it's where she is to the point she doesn't even call the police. She just gives the information to the police because the police have requested her to stop calling.
Hmm.
Just like if you, I'm telling you, they got all these. They have decoys. They have a person talking on the phone with them, and these guys be very vulgar with these decoys and all that. And you and still and once again, I worked in this field with sexual abuse unit, and they're like, you need to have like a lock solid case. You can't have entrapment. And you know what entrapment is. Okay, the people that's listening, if you don't know who entrapment is, it's like you can't bait them. You can't hit them up like, hey, even though you're the 14-year-old child, hey, I'm looking to have a good time, trying to do this, and that. If you do that, that means you set it up for this person to talk to you. And I'm like, that's still a problem. That's still an issue, but that's entrapment. And they can get out of that in court.
Mm.
Did you know that? Well, you know that. But yeah, so if it's like you set somebody up with a profile and you made them seem like that and everything cool, they can walk off that case in Texas. But if it's like you have a 15-year-old, like you on this chat, and that's what I would say. Well, she was in the chat, she was looking for attention. She's the one that opened it up. That's why they said, because once that's said, they're like, oh, that's entrapment. Case closed. Once it's proven. It's so many, and like that's why I want to go to law school. And it's like so many. I remember one of my cases, like these attorneys got to make their money, and I understand the game, and the morality is still it is poor, okay. But I had this dude was obvious a pedophile. They had I said the story. He was 39, the mama was 19, and they had a 5-year-old together. No, they had a 4-year-old together, but she got pregnant by him at the age of 14. And
Mm.
I get on, I'm like, the case was about to close. They had 2 little girls, and they was going to return the girls back with them. And I'm reading the case file. I'm like, wait, what? How these numbers? Like, and he wasn't identified as the father simply because if he identified himself as the father, that's they only need to do is DNA, prove,
Mm-hmm.
add the numbers up, and it's a wrap.
Mm.
So his attorney, which is a really good attorney, I like him as a good guy professionally, but he had it when he's appointed, he has to take that case and he has to defend it because it's like having a record. It's like playing sports.
I can
People
never
look
be
at your record.
I can never be with a cop. I can never be with a lawyer because I can't logically look you in the face and be like, you defended somebody you know deep down was guilty.
Well, I want to be a cop. Well, I have to be an attorney one day, so please excuse me, because at the same time, and that's what I'm like you, and that's why I understand politics to an extent because you have to do some. I want to say I would never want to do no foul thing. I want to do it for righteousness, do well,
Yeah.
but that's how the systems work. Some people need to be defended because some people may look. I've had people that look guilty on paper,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely guilty. And some people work it. I've had parents that did abuse their children, did neglect their children, but guess what? If they have a good attorney, and the attorney actually can motivate, that it can lead them in the right way. They can get their kids back, and really, sometimes that's the best. Most of the time, that's the best thing for these kids that's coming up, you know. But if you have a sorry, I hate lazy, hate, hate
Mm-hmm.
lazy attorneys because you just did a disservice to this person, this family, this like you should not do what you're doing. I don't like you. But and that happens. But with this case here,
If you're enjoying the show, thank you. I appreciate it. You can also find cool, cute Cozy Womb gear on the Cozy Womb shop. It's on Teespring, teespring.com/stores/cozy-womb-shop. And you'll find hoodies, t-shirts, what do you call those? Fanny packs, mugs, everything that I want to give all of my listeners and my supporters during the show is on there for you guys to purchase, okay? I appreciate every penny because every penny does go towards helping my family, especially during a pandemic where I physically can't be out of my house during the week because my children have virtual school. So if you want to support Cozy Womb Podcast, you can support through you getting a little something, and also I getting a little something on the backside. So thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting Cozy Womb Podcast, and thank you for supporting teespring.com. Peace. Let's Bye.
Bye.